Europe is often associated with charm, culture, and beauty, but not every city lives up to that reputation when it comes to hospitality. In fact, some European cities are infamous for their rude residents, unwelcoming vibes, and less than pleasant experiences for newcomers and tourists alike. But which cities top the list of the rudest in 2025? Whether it's the cold stares of locals or outright hostility, these cities aren't exactly rolling out the red carpet. If you're planning a move or even a visit, you might want to think twice before heading to these places. Let's dive in and uncover the 10 rudest cities in Europe and what makes them so infamous. Number 10. Paris in France. While Paris is celebrated for its art, fashion, and romantic ambience, it's equally known for its cold and sometimes downright rude locals. Many visitors complain about unfriendly service and a sense of indifference from Parisians, especially if they don't speak French fluently. With over 30 million tourists annually, Parisians might just be exhausted by the constant influx of visitors. Many locals find the city too crowded, and their patience tends to wear thin, particularly during peak tourist season. If you don't speak French, you might feel unwelcome in Paris. Locals are often perceived as impatient with foreigners who don't attempt to speak the language, which adds to the perception of rudeness. Parisian waitstaff are infamous for their no-nonsense approach. Customers are expected to understand dining customs, and any confusion can be met with annoyance, adding to the city's brusque reputation. As a major metropolitan hub, the hustle and bustle of Paris can make it feel overwhelming. The fast-paced life may cause locals to appear rushed or uninterested in small talk, which can be interpreted as rude behavior. Paris is a city that thrives on its own energy, but don't expect everyone to roll out the red carpet. The beauty and history are undeniable, but the attitude can leave some visitors feeling less than welcome. Number 9. Moscow in Russia. Moscow is the bustling capital of Russia, and while it's a cultural and historical treasure, it's not exactly known for its warmth, especially toward tourists. Visitors often report feeling an icy reception, much like the city's cold winters. Russians, especially Muscovites, are known for their reserved nature. This cultural difference can often come across as unfriendliness, particularly for visitors used to more casual or friendly interactions in public. The severe winters in Moscow, where temperatures can drop to -20 degrees Celsius, might contribute to the city's cold demeanor. When the weather is freezing, people tend to be less patient and more focused on getting through their day quickly. Moscow's service industry isn't known for going above and beyond in hospitality. Customer service is typically efficient, but often lacks the pleasantries you might expect in other parts of the world. With Russia often in the global spotlight for political reasons, some tourists feel an extra layer of tension when visiting Moscow. This can sometimes manifest in the form of locals being suspicious or standoffish toward outsiders. Moscow may be rich in history and grandeur, but its cold attitude toward tourists makes it a challenging city to feel truly welcome. A little patience and understanding of cultural norms go a long way here. Number 8. Milan in Italy. Milan may be the fashion capital of the world, but its stylish appearance doesn't always extend to friendly interactions. Known for its chic, fast-paced environment, this city can sometimes feel aloof or snobby to outsiders. Milan is Italy's business and financial hub, and its residents often lead fast-paced, high-stress lives. This rush can make the locals seem abrupt or indifferent, particularly if you're used to the slower, more relaxed vibe of southern Italy. As the center of global fashion, Milan has a reputation for being style-conscious to a fault. This can lead to a sense of elitism, where outsiders might feel judged or unwelcome if they don't fit in with the city's glamorous aesthetic. Iconic locations like the Duomo di Milano and Galleria Vittorio Emanuele Roman II attract millions of tourists each year. Locals who work and live near these areas often grow frustrated with the crowds, and that impatience can easily come across as rude. Milan's service sector is known for being more formal and less personable than in other parts of Italy. Waiters and shopkeepers might come across as cold or disinterested, especially if you're not familiar with the city's customs or language. Milan's fast-paced, fashion-forward environment can make it feel unapproachable for visitors. While the city offers world-class sights and experiences, don't expect the locals to be particularly warm or welcoming. Number 7. Barcelona in Spain. Barcelona is a beloved tourist destination, but it has also gained a reputation for its occasionally rude locals, especially when it comes to dealing with a flood of tourists. The tension between the influx of visitors and the local way of life has created a unique dynamic that some travelers find off-putting. Barcelona attracts around 12 million tourists per year, far outnumbering the city's population of 1.6 million. The overwhelming number of visitors has led to what locals call tourist fatigue, where residents grow frustrated with the constant crowds, noise, and disruption to their daily lives. Barcelona is in Catalonia, a region with a strong identity and push for independence from Spain. Some locals may come off as cold or unfriendly, particularly toward visitors who don't understand or respect the region's political context. Barcelona is notorious for its high rates of pickpocketing, particularly in tourist hotspots like Las Ramblas. Locals, well aware of the city's petty crime issues, often view tourists as easy targets or nuisances, leading to an unfriendly atmosphere in certain areas. The sheer volume of tourists has led to a decline in customer service standards in some areas. Visitors often complain of rushed or indifferent service in restaurants and shops, especially in heavily touristic zones. Barcelona's beautiful architecture and lively culture are undeniable, but the friction between locals and tourists can make for a less than welcoming experience. Be mindful of the local tensions, and you'll still find plenty to love about this iconic city. Number 6. Berlin in Germany. Berlin is famous for its edgy, no-nonsense attitude, and while that might be part of its charm, it also means that locals can come across as blunt or downright rude. For those not used to the city's directness, it can feel like an unwelcoming place. Germans are often known for being straightforward, but Berlin takes this to another level. Locals aren't shy about telling you what they think, whether it's about your order in a cafe or a question you've asked on the street. For visitors not used to this level of directness, it can easily be mistaken for rudeness. Berlin is incredibly multicultural, but the fast-paced city life can make it feel impersonal. The combination of different cultures and languages can sometimes lead to misunderstandings or a sense of coldness, particularly in crowded public spaces. Berlin's world-famous nightlife is known for being exclusive, with clubs like Berghain infamous for their strict, often arbitrary door policies. Many visitors report feeling unwelcome or judged at these venues, contributing to the city's reputation for aloofness. Berlin's customer service is notoriously indifferent. While you'll rarely experience outright hostility, you shouldn't expect the kind of friendly, attentive service you might get in other European capitals. In Berlin, efficiency often comes before friendliness. Berlin's directness and impersonal vibe can take some getting used to, but for those who embrace its no-nonsense culture, the city has a lot to offer. If you can handle the bluntness, you'll find a city full of creativity and history. Number 5. Prague in Czech Republic. Prague's medieval charm and stunning architecture attract millions of tourists each year, but that doesn't mean the locals are always thrilled to see them. The city's booming tourism industry has led to frustration among residents, and visitors sometimes find the locals to be less than friendly. Like many popular European cities, Prague experiences an overwhelming number of tourists. With around 9 million visitors annually in a city of just 1.3 million residents, the constant influx of people has led to tourist fatigue, making locals appear impatient and short-tempered. While many Czech people speak English, especially in tourist-heavy areas, there's still a notable language barrier that can lead to misunderstandings. Some visitors report feeling ignored or brushed off by locals when they attempt to speak English. Prague is known for having service that can be slow and unfriendly, particularly in restaurants and shops. Whether it's a cold reception at a cafe or a dismissive waiter, visitors often complain about the lack of warmth in the service industry. Prague has a long and complex history with foreign influence, and this sometimes translates into a wary attitude toward outsiders. Some locals, particularly older generations, may still hold reservations about tourists, especially from Western countries. Prague is a city that thrives on its tourism industry, but the locals can be less than welcoming to visitors. Despite the cold attitudes, the city's beauty and history are well worth the trip. Number 4. Athens in Greece. Athens is a city steeped in ancient history, but the economic struggles of recent years have taken a toll on the overall atmosphere. Visitors to the Greek capital often report experiences of impatience and rudeness from locals, especially in busy, tourist-heavy areas. Greece's economic crisis in the past decade has left many residents feeling stressed and overworked, and this frustration can sometimes manifest in public interactions. The strain of daily life, particularly for those in the service industry, may lead to shorter tempers and less patience with tourists. Athens is known for its chaotic traffic and crowded public spaces, which can create a stressful environment for both locals and visitors. Drivers in Athens are particularly aggressive, and navigating the city streets can be a frustrating experience. With millions of visitors each year flocking to see ancient sites like the Parthenon, locals can grow weary of the constant influx of tourists. This fatigue can make interactions with tourists feel rushed and less personable, especially in areas where residents feel overwhelmed by the sheer volume of visitors. Athens has seen its fair share of political protests and demonstrations, which can contribute to an overall tense atmosphere in the city. While these events are typically peaceful, the underlying frustration among locals adds to the perception of rudeness. Athens' economic struggles and overwhelming tourism have created an atmosphere where locals might seem less patient and welcoming. However, the city's historical treasures make it a must-visit destination, despite its occasional cold reception. Number 3. Amsterdam in Netherlands. Amsterdam may be famous for its picturesque canals and laid-back vibe, but it's also notorious for its impatient locals. The massive influx of tourists, combined with the city's fast-paced lifestyle, has contributed to a reputation for rudeness. One of the most common complaints from visitors is the city's overwhelming bicycle traffic. Amsterdam is known for its biking culture, but tourists unfamiliar with the rules can quickly annoy locals, who expect you to know how to navigate the city's bike lanes efficiently. With over 19 million tourists annually in a city of fewer than a million residents, the sheer volume of visitors can be overwhelming. Locals often express frustration with tourists who crowd popular areas like the Red Light District and Dam Square, and this annoyance can come across as rudeness. Dutch culture is known for its directness, and Amsterdam is no exception. While this bluntness can be mistaken for rudeness, it's often just the Dutch way of being straightforward, which can catch visitors off guard. Amsterdam's popularity with tourists means that customer service workers are often dealing with large, rowdy crowds. This can lead to rushed service and less than friendly interactions, especially in the more tourist-heavy areas. Amsterdam's fast pace and cultural directness can make it feel unfriendly to some visitors, especially those not used to the city's blunt approach. Despite this, its beauty and charm continue to draw millions every year. Number 2. London in England. London is a city known for its iconic landmarks and rich history, but it's also infamous for its fast pace, sometimes indifferent locals. Visitors to the British capital often find the city a bit overwhelming, with residents seemingly in a constant rush. London's public transport system is one of the busiest in the world, with the London Underground, the Tube, handling nearly 5 million passengers daily. During rush hour, locals are focused on getting from point A to point B, and any hesitation or confusion by tourists is often met with frustration. As one of the largest cities in Europe, London can feel impersonal and isolating, especially for newcomers. With millions of people bustling through the city every day, there's little time for pleasantries, making the city feel cold to outsiders. Popular attractions like Buckingham Palace and the Tower of London draw millions of visitors annually, but locals often avoid these areas, frustrated by the constant presence of tourists. Visitors to these sites may feel a sense of distance or annoyance from locals trying to go about their daily lives. Londoners are known for their dry, often sarcastic sense of humor, which can sometimes be interpreted as rude by those not familiar with British culture. What might be seen as a witty remark by a Londoner could come off as dismissive or unfriendly to an outsider. London's fast pace and large crowds make it feel impersonal and rushed, which can come across as rudeness. However, if you can keep up with the city's energy, there's no shortage of things to explore and enjoy. Number 1. Rome in Italy. Rome is a city of incredible history and stunning architecture, but it also holds the top spot for rudeness. With millions of tourists descending on the Eternal City every year, the locals have gained a reputation for being impatient and sometimes unwelcoming. Rome sees over 9 million tourists annually, which often causes locals to grow frustrated with the constant crowds. In popular areas like the Colosseum and the Vatican, locals can become impatient with tourists who seem to block their way or slow them down. The traffic in Rome is notoriously chaotic, with drivers often appearing aggressive and quick-tempered. Visitors not familiar with Rome's driving culture might find the road stressful, with honking horns and close calls adding to the sense of rudeness. Many tourists report experiencing rushed or inattentive service in Roman restaurants and shops. Waiters and shopkeepers in busy areas may appear disinterested or even irritated by tourists, especially those who don't speak Italian. Italians are known for their passionate communication style, but in Rome, this can sometimes be mistaken for hostility. A heated conversation between locals may sound like an argument to a visitor, contributing to the city's reputation for rudeness. Rome's breathtaking sights are hard to beat, but the city's impatient locals and chaotic atmosphere can leave visitors feeling unwelcome. If you can navigate the hustle, you'll find the city brimming with culture and history at every turn. From the bustling streets of London to the chaotic charm of Rome, these cities may not always offer the warmest welcomes, but they still have plenty to offer adventurous travelers. Have you ever experienced rudeness in one of these cities, or do you think they're misunderstood? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more exciting travel content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.